The Mariners sweep the Astros, and now we face the Padres. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series analysis episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm running solo today. The Mariners did it. Bang! That's usually what I say whenever I play golf and I make a putt. Bang! That's what the Mariners did. They did it. They made it. They sweep the Astros in a 4-game series. And they, after looking like they had no momentum, energy was gone, can't play baseball, can't score a run. 4 games. The Mariners look like one of the best offenses in baseball. This is the offense that the Mariners were looking for. And despite the Astros pitching being bad, we did face one of the best lineups in baseball. So I want to get into the pitching because the pitching dominated against the Houston Astros lineup, especially in games 3 and 4. The second game, Luis Castillo falls back a little bit, didn't have his best stuff. That's fine. Luis Castillo is going to come back next time, and he's going to be the Luis Castillo that we know. He's the veteran in our team. So even if he has a few bad starts, he'll have a few great starts, and he'll balance it out. So I'm totally confident he's going to be back where he will looks like he'll be. Emerson Hancock. I want to get to Emerson Hancock first because this is Emerson Hancock's worst start this year. But this is Emerson Hancock's best start if he was in 2024, 2025. Emerson Hancock's improved so much this year. The sweeper, the fastball, everything. In the second inning, he looked a little bit shaky. His release point on his sweeper wasn't looking great. He was pulling it a little bit, and Cal Raleigh had to go fish it out, dive for it numerous times. But after that second inning, Emerson Hancock turned on the Jets, and he looked like the Emerson Hancock that we saw in the first 2 games that he's played. Great. If this is your bad game, then great. I'm excited to see where he goes. The best part that I want to get to, because I'm so excited to get to this part, Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert has been atrocious in 2025 and then the start of 2026. Just couldn't find his footing anywhere. And when last time Logan Gilbert played, I was saying that there were signs that he could be good, that his pitch count in certain innings were lower, and he could be that 7 inning pitcher again. There you go. Logan Gilbert dished it out against the Houston Astros. His repertoire looked amazing. Every pitch moved so much, and swing and miss stuff. Not just swing and miss. He was getting weak contact. That was the real difference with Logan Gilbert. He was getting weak contact and getting outs, ground ball outs, fly ball outs. It let him get to 7 innings because he wasn't getting deep into pitch counts. So Logan Gilbert looks fantastic. And Logan Gilbert looked fantastic in terms of everything. Just the home run against Yainer Diaz, that's fine. I mean, you give up one home run, I'm not that mad. Everybody gives up one run in a game. It just happened to be a home run. So other than that, Logan Gilbert looks absolutely incredible. Just lights out baseball. You know who else was lights out? George Kirby. Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, dominant. Like this is the best I've seen them this year. And George Kirby, he didn't get to 8 innings, but 7 2/3 is incredible. Like just I don't even have words for it. Like this is you have a pitcher that almost went 8 innings twice in a row. That's insane. That's better than Cy Young players throughout the years. George Kirby in the last 2 starts has looked better than what he was supposed to be, better than the top level pitchers in the MLB. He gave up 2 runs, but all that matters is that he gets the quality start and he goes 7 and 2/3. That's insane. George Kirby's slider looks amazing. His I like that he was putting the slider up in the zone and getting looking strikes. The the swing and miss strikes are great, but I liked how he was mixing it up and using the slider in the zone, up in the zone. That way the batters thought it was a fastball and didn't swing at it. I thought George Kirby had a lot of creativity when it came to this game. And it gets me excited because I said before, this is the Astros we're talking about. The Astros lineup that has Jose Altuve, one of the best second basemen that that's played. Jordan Alvarez, literally, he is one of the league's top tier DHs. Christian Walker and Isaac Paredes. This is a lineup that can crush baseballs that got mowed down by Mariners pitchers. The only good game that the Astros had offensively was the second game against Luis Castillo when Luis Castillo didn't look that great. So that's a massive, massive achievement for Mariners pitching. And they continue to be the anchor of what the Mariners team is. That's that's the part that's most exciting. And then the offense. The offense turns it around. Sure, this Astros pitching staff is banged up and they don't have Hunter Brown. Their pitchers are getting injured left and right. Sure, but you you still can't beat bad pitching if your offense doesn't do anything. And I thought this time they were really patient and they were taking their walks. Every time they take their walks, that's extra pitches that goes on the pitcher's pitch count. And now the the pitcher gets tired, has to get out of the inning. Everything happens. It just stems from that walk and continues getting worse for the pitcher. The Mariners were the Astros pitchers' nightmares this series, and Brendan Donovan walks. JP Crawford knows how to walk. The Mariners batting is showing that level of consistency where they have Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh. Those guys are the home run guys. Josh Naylor hits 2 home runs as well. That was amazing. They have the home run guys, and then they have the base hit walk guys that can always get on base. Once you've got those base hit walk guys on base, Cal Raleigh hits a home run, boom, that's 3 runs. Instead of just a 1 run solo shot, you've got 3 run home run, 2 run home run. That's what the Mariners are trying to do this year. That's why they acquired Brendan Donovan. That's why they're playing someone like Cole Young, who's top prospect, top contact hitter. This is exactly what this lineup is supposed to be doing. And the Mariners did it against the Astros. This, I think, one thing that should be said, and I've said this a few times, but Astros pitching staff was banged up. And so, how much is this going to translate from this series to the next? I'm not for sure. It's not 100%. But at the same time, this type of discipline with the walking, it's going to translate. You even if the pitcher is bad, you still have to have discipline against the bad pitches to take the walk. If you're swinging and missing against bad pitching, well, sure, he's a bad pitcher, but then you're out. You're taking walks against the bad pitchers means that you can take the walks against the good pitchers. If you can do it the easy way, then you should be able to do it the tough way. It's the same deal. And so next, when we go up against the Padres, I hope the Mariners can show this same exact plate discipline. And then even with Julio Rodriguez, there was a lot of plate discipline. And so I think this next series is going to be a big indicator, especially because this is going to be a Padres team that's a top contender for the National League. So let's get into it because this is going to be this is the Vetter Cup. This is one of Mariners, one of the top teams in the American League. Padres, one of the top teams in the National League. So this is definitely going to be a series to watch. The only pitcher that's been released for the Padres is Michael King. So we're going to be talking about Michael King predominantly on the pitching side, and then we'll talk about the batting. So Michael King, Michael King is a player that spins the ball. Just that's the first impression of Michael King. If you go watch some highlights and you watch Michael King videos, the first thing you'll see is the sinker just whoosh moves a lot of horizontal break. And that's what Michael King thrives on. Think of like a Matt Brash sweeper slash slider. Matt Brash, his one of his biggest things is that that slider just all the way from one side to the next. The horizontal break makes batters literally swing and miss where the ball used to be, and not even weak contact. He's able to get no contact because of how much horizontal break there is. Even though the bat is coming in at a horizontal angle, the bat misses. And that's what Michael King does. He's a strikeout pitcher. One of Michael King's main weapons is his sinker and changeup combo because they move basically exactly the same. The changeup is just slightly slower than the sinker, and he'll try to get a bunch of swing and miss out in front on the changeup, behind on the sinker. It's it's really confusing what Michael King does. The Mariners are playing Brian Wu that day, and I want to use him as a reference because I want to talk about pitch tunneling that Michael King does. So when Brian Wu throws his four seam and two seam, one of his biggest strengths of that pitch is that both of them come out from the same arm angle at the same direction, but one moves more than the other, and it ends up making weak contact because if you see four seam fastball, but then it's a two seam fastball, then the bat's going to come in a little bit different spot. It doesn't hit the sweet spot of the bat, and it ends up being weak grounder, weak fly out. And so Michael King, what he does, instead of it being a four seam and two seam mix, it's the two seam and changeup mix. It's not how much movement it is, it's how much speed it is. Instead of having a 96 mile per hour two seamer coming your way, you're going to have a 89 mile per hour changeup. And so that's the tunnel that Michael King wants to use to every time to make sure that he can get strikes on Mariners batters. That's that's Michael King's biggest strength. And then when you forget about it, well, now he's got the sweeper that's going to swing the other way, swing and miss, strike three, you're out. Or he doesn't use this pitch as much as the other three, but four seam fastball up in the zone, up above the zone. Many times he gets swing and misses up above the zone because of how much his pitches can move down. And so his sinker, his changeup, his sweeper all move decently down enough that his four seam fastball up above the zone now looks like one of those pitches, and the batter is going to need to adjust because you don't want swing and misses up on the top of the zone. These things sound like Michael King is one of the best pitchers ever. But one of his main weaknesses is when he gets behind in the count. If he gets behind in the count, now he has to go through another round of these strike pitches that aren't the pitches he uses to strike people out, the finishing pitches. Because the four seam up in the zone and the sweeper, they're finishing pitches. But yet he has to go through another round of the sinker and the changeup. That means that the batter is going to be seeing that pitch coming, and they're going to be able to react to it. So that's one of Michael King's biggest weaknesses is that his pitches can be a little bit predictable at times. And also, he's going to be throwing out of the zone because of so much break. You can't expect Michael King to be in the zone all the time because one of his biggest strengths is that he can move it from in the zone to outside of the zone. And that's how he's going to generate swing and misses. It also means, just like the Astros series, the Mariners can take the walks. If the Mariners can start piling up walks, especially because the losing pitch count is Michael King's biggest weaknesses. If the Mariners can start taking walks, we're going to put Michael King into a jam and he's not going to be able to get any of the Mariners out. And so that's going to be the biggest way to beat Michael King is swing at stuff in the strike zone, but beware that Michael King loves to throw outside of the zone as well. He's going to try to get that swing and miss, chase outside the zone, and Mariners need to react to it. Mariners did that against the Astros. I have full faith that the Mariners know how to do that now. The Mariners can do that against Michael King and the Padres. The other part is Mason Miller. Mason Miller in the bullpen is one of the best closers in the game. Think of Andres Munoz, same tier. Andres Munoz and Mason Miller are on the same tier. This is one of the best bullpens in baseball. He throws well, but before we get into what he throws, I want to get into what he did. And Mason Miller threw a immaculate inning last year. So that's a clear sign that Mason Miller has the repertoire and the arsenal to be able to generate swing and miss. The slider is one of his biggest put away pitches, and he'll throw that on the first pitch as well. And so it's not just a put away pitch after two strikes. It's strike one. He's going to try to get swing and miss off that slider, and then maybe he puts a fastball in there and then puts you away with the slider or a fastball up. There is so much swing and miss that happens with Mason Miller. There's a reason why he was the best closer for Team USA in the WBC. There's a reason why he is the closer in an elite Padres bullpen. So Yuki Matsui, he's out, but still, if he comes back, definitely one of the top guys. This Padres closer, not just closer, but late inning bullpen guys like Morahone. That's another one. Morahone's gonna just he's one of those guys that can mow down the Mariners batters. The Mariners need to score and take the starting pitchers out early because this bullpen can shut them down. This is one of those lockdown bullpens. I think this is one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball, if not the best. And so definitely that's the part of the Padres that the Mariners need to watch out the most. Even though every part of the Padres is good, this is the part that can really eat you alive. If you can't score against Michael King, if you can't score against the other two starting pitchers that are coming out, Mariners are going to have a tough time against the Padres because then you have Morahone, then you have Mason Miller, then it's done deal. Mariners are going to have a tough time scoring. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing for the Padres is their bullpen, and then starting pitching a little bit banged up as well, but they're definitely one of the better pitching staffs in Major League Baseball. So, getting to the batter's side of it, you've got Fernando Tatis Jr. Everybody knows him. Jackson Merrill, Luis Arias. Just the whole point of their lineup is to get Luis Arias on base. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. just pummels a baseball. And the that's how they operate. They have a ton of guys that can support Luis Arias. Luis Arias is a contact hitter. This is a guy that he has one tool. Literally, this is all he does. Luis Arias will hit the baseball in play and get on base. That's the only thing he'll do. He won't take walks. He won't hit home runs. He'll just hit the single every single time, and it's going to be one of the most frustrating things that we'll ever see is a Luis Arias single up the middle, single pull side every single time. And so that's one of the biggest things that the Mariners need to avoid is getting getting runners on and facing Tatis and Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado, all these guys, well-known batters, because one of the biggest things Logan Gilbert did was he didn't allow batters to get on base against the Astros. And that's why even though Yainer Diaz hits the home run, well, it's a solo shot. Who cares? It's just one run. And if let's say if there were three batters on base, well, that's a grand slam. That's a massive difference. 4 runs versus 1. That would be a massively different game if Logan Gilbert gave up a grand slam. And so that's why you can't let Luis Arias get on. Even though it's just a single, you can't let that happen because now you've got Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. staring down your pitcher and they're going to destroy the pitch. So that's how the Padres are going to get you. They're going to have a good enough starting pitcher that starts the game. Their bullpen is going to lock you down. So from like 6th inning and on, you can't expect to score many runs against the Padres. And at that point, they'll have all their batters that can punch baseballs down the middle, destroy your pitcher. That's their strategy, which against that, the Mariners have Brian Wu to start the first game. Michael King is probably their best pitcher this year, especially with all the injuries that are going on. Brian Wu is ours. And Brian Wu is one of those guys that can go out there. I talked about pitch tunneling with Michael King earlier. Brian Wu, same deal. 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball. Now you're getting weak contact all over the place, swing and miss with the high fastball. And every time you forget about this pitch, here comes the sweeper that's going to get that swing and miss. And it's a nightmare for batters. Brian Wu's simplicity when it comes to vertical break is incredible. That's the reason why he's one of the top pitchers in the league right now, is because what he does is very simple. He just has really, really good fastballs paired with a sweeper that breaks the other way. Just messes up the batter so much. And then the changeup too. That vertical break on the changeup messes up the batter even more because now it looks like a sinker in the 4-seam fastball, but then it's a changeup that escapes, that just drives down underneath the zone, swing and miss again. Brian Wu is about to mow down Padres pitching or Padres batters. This is gonna look amazing. We're gonna have Castillo at the end. Hopefully he does well. Hopefully he can come back to his hopefully his pitches look good and he can get all that break that he gets whenever he plays well. He's a veteran presence. He doesn't get angry much with his pitching. And so I think that's one of his biggest strengths, his poker face. He can go out there and he should be able to perform well. That I am almost certain that this outing against the Astros, just just a fluke, just a bad outing for Luis Castillo. Emerson Hancock, he's if this is his bad start against the Astros, well, now he's going to come back against the Padres, one of the better lineups in the league, and do what he did in the first two games. First game, no hit baseball for 6 innings. Second game, 6 2/3, 1 run baseball. Just go do that again. And quality start, team will win, and we'll all be happy. So, Mariners' key to winning this series: pitching staff, pitching staff, pitching staff, pitching staff. If the pitching staff can dominate the batting, then it gives the Mariners batters a chance, especially against the great bullpen that Padres have, especially against Michael King, who likes to get a lot of swing and miss. I assume the first time around the Mariners are going to struggle, but then once they see all the pitches once, they come back to the plate and they'll start hitting against the strikeout pitchers like Michael King. So I think the Mariners have a great chance at winning this series. I think that this is a series that looks like a playoff game, looks like something that could possibly be a World Series game. And so this is a big series for the Mariners. I want to see them win. I want to see what a win against one of these playoff teams looks like. And I I firmly believe that the Mariners have this in the bag. So I'd love to know what you guys think. What do you guys think the Mariners are going to do against the Padres bullpen? How can the Mariners combat this? I'd love to see your opinions in the comments, and I'm excited. This is going to be a fun series. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful face on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.